Welcome to the No World Order podcast. I am here with my co-host, Drew, and I am Zach. Drew, where are you coming from? Where do you hail?
I am coming from the communist California.
Great intro. I love it.
San Diego, California, born and raised here. And yeah, what about you? You were here. We
I
met
was
here.
there.
We were friends here.
Yeah,
But
now you're
now
the only real word coming out of communist California. I had to leave. I am in South Texas, back where I was growing up, and just minding my own business, doing my own thing, and it feels great.
Nice.
Yeah, it is hot. But you know what's weird, and this is going to sound strange, and I'm sure other people say this, it doesn't feel that hot. Like it was like 103 the other day. After like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, it's kind of warm. I guess I should go inside or drink some water or something. But it's a trip how quick you get used to it.
Yeah, that is. Because it's getting hot here, and what is it? It's like in the 80s, so I can't imagine what it is there. But we're such babies here in any direction. It goes up 10 degrees. We're freaking out. It's too hot. It goes down 10 degrees to 60. We're like, oh, it's cold.
Yeah.
So that's us here in California.
Well,
But yes. What's up?
My argument for that was always with the price that everyone has to pay to live there, the weather should be fucking perfect all the time.
Yeah.
Don't act like you can't control it. Come on. Anyway, I am here in Texas, living probably a politically different life than you are. And I wanted to do a different kind of show this week, but with everything ramping up in the news, I think it's a current events show again.
Yeah, right.
So there's a few things that I had read about Uvalde. I know you're not on social media too much anymore. Has that been true since we last spoke?
Pretty much, yeah. I check in, scroll for like 2 minutes, get frustrated, and then I'm like, all right, I'm out. And then every interaction I have with it is so brief. It's to the point where I just need to like sign off my accounts again and just kind of be done with it, because for some reason I signed on and it won't sign out now unless I sign out. Yeah. So every time I go, it's just easy. I don't have the apps downloaded or anything, but just on the browser still makes it easy. It's just to the point where I just need to like sign out and just be done with it again, because it's just pointless.
It's pretty bad, especially since like last time we were talking about how we're both trying to not engage in the negativity as much and kind of observe a little more. And then when bombs are dropped, not literal bombs, but when big things happen in the news, it's so hard to not be on and have that visceral reaction or emotion to some ignorant things that people say. It's been tough. I've posted more than I normally do, just like on the No World Order stories, but half of it is like jokes about what's happening, which is kind of where I'm finding myself. Like, let's just make jokes about how stupid everything is and maybe not want to kill each other. But yeah,
that's where I'm at, is just jokes, man. Comedy, laugh through anything and everything, because that's what, I mean, honestly, comedy and laughter is what got me through my first, well, not my first wave of depression, but when I was like 15, 16, 17, around that age, I found stand-up comedy, and that got me through so much. Just throw that on and just start laughing and forgetting about problems. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you find it offensive or anything like that. It's just like, let me laugh at the darkest shit, the most lighthearted shit. Just let me laugh. Like, that's what I need, you know?
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think that's important, and all the comedies being censored, but I'm sure when you were getting into it, it was much better. Also check out Telegram. Telegram is a good place to stay current with what's going on in the news and also not have to hear ignorant people, depending on what group you find yourself in. But there have been a few more things about Uvalde that have come up. I don't know if you've seen any of them. I haven't confirmed this one that I was reading about, but a lot of people are saying that there's no birth certificates nor death certificates for the kids that were allegedly killed at the Uvalde at that shooting at the school.
Oh, so it's already very similar to the dreaded term that'll get you banned from YouTube, that Sandy Hook. It's very, very similar to that, it's sounding like.
Yeah, and I think you and I pointed out last time how similar they seem already. I'm just waiting for somebody to find a reference to Uvalde in a Batman movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people are going around, and it's not difficult to go search for birth records and death records and property records and all that stuff. So people are going around, they're looking, and they're allegedly not finding birth certificates for these people. There was I don't know if we talked about this last time. There was one girl who had two different people claiming to be her dad talking about her on the news, and nobody addressed that. That was strange.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I saw them both, and I verified that both of the videos had two different guys in there, and they showed pictures of the same girl. So I guess it could be that news sources were just throwing whatever picture of whatever kid they had up.
No. You're being bigoted, and you forget what month it is. It's Pride Month, so they were just in a gay relationship.
Maybe
two dads.
You know what? To be fair, neither one of them said I am a heterosexual male. So,
so yeah, you're just assuming.
I am assuming that she had one dad. You're right. Get banned for that.
Banned.
So that was really strange, and I wish there was a way to delve more into that, but at this point I don't really know. But it's still very interesting. The other thing that I had seen was one of the teachers that was in the school as everything was going down, called her or texted her husband, who is a cop in the city, and he was detained and his weapon was taken away when he tried to enter the school to go save his wife, who ended up dying. So the police department, I believe, and I don't know if he worked for this police department or the one a town over or what, but a policeman went in to save his wife, who was allegedly going to be murdered, and the cops in Uvalde stopped him and took his weapon away. Yeah, it's so funny because I can't argue this from, I can argue it from a conspiracy point, but I couldn't. Usually when stuff happens, when events like this happen, I won't refer to them as FF, but when stuff like this happens, you can kind of see like the narrative story and then what really happened. This was all over the place. Like I can kind of see a few things, but the storyline's not matching up and the timestamps not matching up, and different cops stopping different people, and the exercise they had a month before, like that one, we've seen that before, but a lot of it just doesn't make sense. And bringing us to the most recent news, the news that I had texted you about, and quick side note, I had never really looked into Sandy Hook a whole lot before I met you, but then you and I had the, hey, what was your first big conspiracy conversation? And yours was Sandy Hook. And so you kind of taught me about that. And I learned about that a little more, which brings me to what I had just read. I sent it to you, is that they're going to demolish that school. They're going to demolish the Uvalde Elementary School. I don't remember the name, but they're taking it down, and they're going to destroy the alleged shooter's house as well, where he used to live with his mom, I guess. Yeah. So taking what we know about Sandy Hook, a lot of speculation. They demolished the school right away. So there was no proof. You couldn't go do ballistics tests on any of the bolts in the walls or anything like that.
Exactly.
Now it seems that's what's going on here. And with the timeline in question, the cops not cooperating, the other people trying to get in, not able to, where did this kid get all the money for these weapons? Like what, all of the questions. And now we're going to have even less information because we can't go into the school and get any more info. I would venture to guess there's probably already been shenanigans on that property. You know what I mean? Like, how did you guys?
Definitely.
It's already been tampered with, because there's people out there that'll jump a fence and go look for clues. I bet you it's already been messed up, and now they're going to destroy it. What do you think about the similarities?
Yeah, it sounds very, very similar. That's why it's like, man, the more you keep bringing things up, I'm like, it just sounds so much like Sandy Hook. And we immediately saw with Sandy Hook, it was the gun control talk. And that's what's going on here too. And you're even seeing, it seems like, more serious action taken and both sides agreeing to things this time and, making headway and things like that. But it's like, I don't know. Is that the play here? Is there something bigger? I don't really know. Like I said, I've been kind of out of the loop with it, but just hearing you talk about it and explain some of the things, it definitely gives me a feeling of Sandy Hook for sure. Like, timelines not adding up, people not being able to account for deaths and things like that. Just weird similarities. I definitely find similar for sure. Interesting.
There was another last weird thing I can remember that I've seen since we last spoke on the topic. A teacher in that elementary school, about a month prior to the shooting, made a GoFundMe account on behalf of another teacher. And she said, oh, this poor teacher, her husband had a heart attack and he's in the hospital. I think she may have even said that teacher is also sick. All like, poor this teacher, there's a death in the family, we need to raise money for her. And then a month later, that person who she was talking about died in the shooting. And she put up like another GoFundMe for the same teacher she had been talking about a month prior as a joke, she later claimed, actually got shot, and then she put up a GoFundMe for her.
That's weird.
It's super. It's like even hard to explain. I hope it made sense, but I guess when asked about it, this lady just said, oh, like, me posting about her husband dying and the GoFundMe, that was a joke. But now she died in the shooting, so donate money to her family.
But how? So with that, if it was a joke, like, you're just collecting money and then it just gets returned to the people. Like, I don't understand what the purpose of that is. Because I mean, there is a vetting process with that kind of stuff, but yeah, what's the joke? That's just weird. I mean, I'm all for comedy. We were just talking about I'm all for comedy, but it's like, I don't see the joke in that. Like, that's just weird.
It's very strange. And again, it falls in the category of, I don't know what to do with that. Demolishing the school, okay, we've seen that. I know what to do with that. This weird GoFundMe duplicating thing, like predicting this person's death almost, I don't know what to do with that. That's very strange.
That is strange.
Yeah, super weird. So that's the latest on that. It seems to be I don't want to say gaining traction, but it's kind of a big deal now. Like, I think it was maybe not on, I don't know, MSNBC or something like that. They had said that the cops hadn't followed protocol or something. So even like the mainstream narrative is now singling out this group of cops that didn't let anyone go into the school. And I'm like, oh, I'm very confused now. What is the narrative belief and what's the opposite of that? So I can just fall into that category.
Yeah, that's interesting. But where have we heard, oh, cops aren't doing their job? Or we heard that during the summer of 2020 the whole time. So it's like they painted police in a bad light. So this is kind of what you get when you say defund the police and all police are bad. And then you had a vast majority of the force kind of resign and quit. And then so you had the people who want like the weird, when you have all of that take place, this is kind of the leftovers of that. So it's like,
that's true. That's not a bad point. That's a very logistical point. It's interesting because now I'm starting to see, and not going too much into what we're going to talk about later, but it's almost like they got a twofer and pivoted. So they have the, you know, lone gunman, crazy terrorist killing kids, which equals take away your guns. And then they pivoted to cops suck. You know, they did that in one event. And it goes like back to what I'll tell people that don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm like, there's like 13, 14 false flags, and they just like shuffle them and they combine them and they throw them together, and you know, like it's just like a very lazy form of creativity. It's the same agendas thrown into different events.
Same playbook.
Yeah. Which see, then it starts to get to be like, okay, if we can see these patterns, why doesn't everyone see these patterns? You know, it seems very obvious. At the very least, people should question the very small things that start to come through. Drives me crazy. But
you would think, but
I would hope. I fucking hope.
That's what happens when you actually think.
You're cutting out just a little bit there, but I heard you say that's what happens when you actually think.
That's all I said. Yeah. No.
Oh,
and then I heard you speak. So.
Well, we have a time warp going on. But anyway, that was all. That was all I kind of have for updates on Uvalde, kind of keeping it in my peripheral. I think we're going to see something come out of it that's going to be interesting or significant, but I don't think it's going to be very obvious. So I'm going to keep my eye on it. Any last comments on that shooting or how it may affect anything today?
No, nothing too much. Like I kind of said, I feel like it immediately went to gun control and taking guns, and you know, there's more. It felt initially like there was a more serious action and both sides were agreeing on certain measures and things like that where they hadn't been before this shooting. So I don't know. We'll see if there's any more restrictions that come in place or anything, but no other thoughts. It, like I said, it does remind me a lot of Sandy Hook, and you know what happens with that when you mention that and question that. Just look at Alex Jones. He's banned everywhere and all that, and that's where that came from. So very similar, but other than that, nothing. No other thoughts.
Maybe that's why they did a shooting in Texas, so people can think, oh, well, now the conservatives are voting with it, so it's getting pushed through. Another thing I wanted to touch on, and this is almost going to be more of like an upcoming thing that we're going to have to watch out for, but CERN is opening back up. You know CERN, with the really dark, kind of demonic looking opening rituals with the half naked ladies on the old guys and people that died and all that. Yeah, so they were closed down. I think they've been closed down for 2 or 3 years. I remember when they closed down, I was pretty happy about it. It was just nice to know that they weren't doing shit for a while, but they are opening back up soon. I think July 5th, they're going to start fucking throwing whatever they throw at whatever else as fast as they can in an effort to open a portal to other dimensions that they've said they think exist. Question is, are we going to get something through there first, or something going to come through and come to us first? If you had to take a guess, what do you think? I may have lost you.
Oh, that's interesting. Man, I heard the question. Yeah, I was thinking about that for a second. Shoot, who knows with CERN, right? That's the question. It's like you never really know, because they're just messing with who knows what. Like I can't even comprehend. So I didn't even know they were closed. That's interesting, but to hear that they're opening back up, that's that's even more interesting. So I don't really know. That's you kind of just dropped this on me, and I'm just like, wow, I don't even know what's your thoughts on it.
Yeah,
I know we only have like a handful of minutes left, but
yeah, I hadn't looked up a whole lot on it. I just saw a few videos today, and I was like, oh shit, we got to talk about it because I think it's going to be something that we're going to be talking about going forward. People are already like, up, Mandela effect's going to happen. We're going to mesh timelines. Things are going to get weird. And I don't think they're crazy. I think there's possibly some truth, even if a bunch of people believe it, it'll feel like it.
So we'll get the second wave of Mandela effects. Like we had that first one where everybody started tripping out, and so then we'll get a second wave where it's new ones.
Right. Exactly. And I think when the world was supposed to end on the Aztec calendar, that was 2012. So we're almost 10 years later. It's time for a decade celebration of, timelines meshing, Mandela effects, and everybody dying metaphorically. But a lot of people are also pointing out that the CERN opening back on June 5th comes after July 4th. But the big deal about that is last year or the year before, Stranger Things season 3 was released on Netflix, and it came out on July 4th. And Stranger Things, of course, is a show that kind of gives us a peek behind the curtain into what they would do as far as MK Ultra tactics and how they would utilize kids to try and do these, I'm going to say, extra sensory activities. And of course, in Stranger Things, they open a hole to other dimensions and stuff starts to come through, these big scary aliens, and a bunch of people die, a bunch of people fight it. But I think it's worth note the commonalities it has with Stranger Things already. I think it's already being prepped. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of there, or what they say is coming out of there. We're always kind of dreading the big fake alien invasion, so who knows if they're going to loop this in there somehow. I don't know, but like I said, it's something to keep our eye on because I think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually just kind of started watching Stranger Things from the beginning, and I actually just started season 3.
Hey, speak of the
it's
devil.
Interesting. We will have to talk about that at another point in time, but on what I think is going on with that, but behind the message of the MK Ultra and that kind of stuff, like just the overall theme, I guess. But yeah, we'll have to dive deep into that at another point, because I held off on that show for a while. Everybody told me about it, and it's cool. Like it's cool for sure.
I fucking mainline Stranger Things. The fourth season just came out, and as soon as it came out, I told my wife, I was like, hey, we're doing popcorn, we're watching Stranger Things, because I'm getting we're running through all these episodes. I need it. And so far, like, I'm not gonna ruin anything for you, but these episodes in this season, I think, are longer than the episodes in previous seasons. And I swear each of them feels like a mini movie, kind of how Black Mirror does toward the end, hour 20 minutes, and it's like a really big storyline, and it's great. It gets, I feel like it gets better with each season almost. Anyway, CERN is weird. What have you heard? And I know, again, you're kind of like, it's so funny, the things that drew us together, Drew, like being up on conspiracies all the time and wrestling, like you're kind of lukewarm on wrestling too now, right?
Yeah, for the most part. But I have a buddy who a coworker who's like super into wrestling, and like when the Vince McMahon stuff came, he's like, did you hear? I was like, no, what happened? And he told me. I was like, oh my gosh.
So that's great.
You'll have to explain it. I see we have like 4 minutes left.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we cliffhang it, and we'll just start with this one on the next one.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we're gonna jump head first into the Vince McMahon story.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. What is our sign off, Drew? Will you do us the honors?
Yeah. Well, thank you for everybody for tuning in. Definitely appreciate it. This went by fast. Damn Zoom cutting us off. Gonna have to invest in the premium Zoom, get us going longer, because that's some bullshit. What happened, Zoom? That's messed up, man. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you all for listening. Shout out to Nick Arcada. I sent that super chat and gained like an additional 20 plus subscribers. So
That's right.
that was a
cool
cool little boost. But yeah, other than that, not much going on, and yeah, we'll dive into some other topics, some other current events, right after
these messages
right after
from
this
your
next
sponsors.
episode.
Cool. All right. We'll be back for part 2 later.